Hey, WidFam. I don't know if anybody's here, and I don't know if anybody's going to be able to hear me. So if you can hear me, give me a message in the chat. I think this lighting is way too bright. So let me. Oh, I don't know if that's any better. All right, I'm sticking with that. Oh, I'm looking old today, guys. Anyway, good afternoon. It's been a while, hasn't it? Let me take these out so I can hear myself. I don't want to have to yell. Um, anyway, if this is the first time that you have come across my channel, welcome. My name's Leo, aka One Happy Widow, and I have not been here in a while. So, oh goodness, I'm checking in. Let's see if we can recap. The biggest reason why I have not been here in quite some time is because sometimes, when you, like, let's say you have a friend that you haven't called in a while, and it's like the longer that you go without calling them, the harder it is to call them because it's been so long. And so you're like, oh, I need to call them, but it's been so long. And I know I got to explain myself and I don't want them to yell at me. And so that's one of the reasons. But honestly, the reason why I've gotten out of the habit of just checking in all the time and being here weekly or every other week like I have for the longest time is because um, just like we go through phases of grief, this whole channel is about moving forward after the loss of our spouse or our partner. And so I feel like I was wrapped up in my grief for so long, and it was sort of like the focal point of my life. And I was using that to pull my content from. I was using the grief that I was living in as the topics for my videos to help other people know that they weren't alone, and just to share my experiences so that other people could say, yep, I've gone through that. I know what you're feeling. I know how that feels. And it seems like in the past year or so, I've also not only moved forward in my life in general, but I've also moved forward from the grief that was the focal point of my life of being a widow, which is actually a good thing. Like, that's where we all need to strive to be, right? And so it just seems like that the longer time went by, I was having more and more struggles trying to come up with topics that were applicable to widowed people. And so I thought, everything that I really have to say about being a widow, I feel like I've already made a video about it. And so to continue to talk about how grief was affecting my life was becoming harder and harder because I didn't feel like grief was affecting my life as much as it used to. And so instead of grief leading my life, it was just kind of taking a back seat, and it will never leave my life. Grief will always be a part of my life, and being a widow will always be a part of me. That experience will always be a part of me. It still affects a lot of things, a lot of my decisions. It affects a lot of situations in my life, especially when it comes to parenting and my children. Um, but on a day-to-day basis, I don't wallow in my grief anymore, and I don't wake up every morning and think about the fact that I'm widowed and wonder how I'm going to get through the day and how I'm going to tackle these strong feelings. And um, it's still there, and it's still sprinkled, all throughout my life, but it's like more faded. It's like it's just more subdued. Okay, it's not quite as bright and vivid. It's just more, you know, the waves are just kind of slowly crashing along, but I don't feel like I'm in the middle of the tidal wave or the storm that I used to be. And so because of that, it's been more difficult for me to enter into this world as often because I kind of don't want to stay in the middle of it all the time. It doesn't mean that I don't care about the widowed community, and it doesn't mean that I don't care about the people that I've been helping. It just means that I have other focuses in my life, and a lot of them bring me joy, and I don't want to pull myself out of the middle of those experiences and walk back into the memories of all the grief and recount them and talk about them week after week after week. I hope that makes sense. If you are freshly widowed, you probably are thinking, okay, that's easy for you to say because it's been 8 years since you've been widowed and I'll never feel like that, or there's no way that I can even imagine feeling like that anytime soon. And if you are in that situation, then I see you, I recognize you, and I know where you've been, and I know the pain that you're going through and how hard it is to go through those moments right now. But I encourage you to go back through the channel and just look at some of those older videos. They might be older, but they're still relevant because grief is a human experience and it doesn't really change as much with the times. It's not trendy. Okay. It's just a human emotion that we've experienced through eons of time. And so if you are freshly widowed and you're looking for some help and looking for some advice, or just looking to hear stories from someone who's been through it, just go through some of the older videos and check out the topics. Make sure you hit the live button so you can see all the live topics that I've talked about in the past. I've done a lot of lives, and just see if there's anything that might resonate with you that you think might help you. But I am here to just kind of pop in and let you know that I haven't left, and that I don't plan to leave, but I probably will not be here on a weekly basis like I have been over the past years. I started this channel probably 5 years ago, and we're creeping up on 20,000 subscribers. And so I know there's a lot of people out there who've watched a lot of videos. And I've actually had some people who have emailed me and said, "Hey, where you at? We miss you. Where have you been? Are you okay? Please check in and just let us know." And so that's another reason why I'm back, is just to let you know that I'm here, and that I haven't gone anywhere. I just haven't popped in quite as often as I used to. And I also see some people in the chat says, "Welcome back." Judy says, "Welcome back." Yes, so happy to see you here. Yay. And Tim is back. Hello, glad to see you have reached this new stage. So I know that Tim, you've been in and out of the dating world recently. So are there any updates on that? Let us know if there is. If you don't want to, just pretend like I didn't ask that question. um, so I'll just give you a little bit of an update on just how, just where things have gone and what has gone on in my life, and just to let you guys know, like I said, that that I am still here and everything is okay. And I think the last time I was pretty regular here was like right around the holidays, when I did a little holiday activity and just kind of helped a small group of people to sort of get through the holidays together. And we did some activities and we did some Zoom meetings, and it was really nice. And then after that, my participation just kind of dropped off. And so, if you guys have followed me for a while, you know that I was a teacher for a long time, and I reached that point where, actually, it was after my husband died that a lot of that changed for me. My heart was just no longer in the teaching world anymore, and so it became really like a job instead of a calling, and so it's just really tough for me to keep going. On top of that, when COVID happened. A lot of things changed in the world. And then when we came back to school from COVID, the kids were just different. They had been through a lot of trauma. The world had been through a lot of trauma. And so there was a lot of behaviors that were coming out differently from students who had just been through that isolated stage. And so, something just happened with schools from starting with COVID. And now there's a lot of polarizing material. There's a lot of polarizing politics that have made their way into schools on both ends of the spectrum. And so it's causing a lot of conflict between parents and teachers and students and society and expectations. And, you know, children are reacting to things differently. And so it's really hard to be in that world. So I did change jobs and schools a lot in the last few years, just to try to see if there was anything that was still left out there in education. And I really just couldn't find anything that I could handle anymore. So I did quit my teaching job back in about October. And then I thought, well, gosh, now I have to figure out a way to help pay the bills. And so I got into reselling. And so I've been reselling just items. I go to estate sales, I go to Goodwill thrift shops, and I pick up secondhand items and I resell them. I have an eBay shop that's still kind of trying to get off the ground. The biggest thing that I've done is I have started a Whatnot platform. If you don't know what Whatnot is, it's like a live auction platform. it's like Home Shopping Network meets eBay. So it's like online live selling, auction style. And mostly I'm selling quilting fabric. I'm selling fabric mostly, some sewing items, some craft supplies. And to be honest, right about the time that I started to grow, Joann's went out of business, which is one of the largest craft supply stores in America. And so that kind of coincided at the same time. So now everybody's out looking for places where they can buy their craft supplies, and a lot of people are landing on Whatnot. And so I've been having a really good time doing that. The business is growing tremendously. It's really, as a matter of fact, I've already exceeded my teaching salary. So, but as a result, it's taking a lot of my time. Like I'm working a good probably 50 to 60 hours a week on the business. And so it's just, I'm still trying to figure out how to juggle all of my responsibilities with work, with marriage, with parenting. And, there's just been a lot of changes. So, and when you become self-employed now, you have to make your own schedule. And so you don't clock in and hit a time clock anymore. So it's really easy to put off tasks like making YouTube videos. And so, it's like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that next week. And so I've been doing that a lot with this. And so finally I was like, okay, this is it. I've got to pop in. I've got to let everybody know that I'm okay and that I'm not abandoning the channel, and I'm not going anywhere. But as I said, it will be, more difficult for me to find time to be able to come here every week and come up with good topics because, like I said, it's been harder and harder for me to think up new things to talk about. And so that's pretty much where we are. I got some notes over here. I'm going to just check and see if there's anything that I need to cover that I haven't talked about yet. Let's see. Yeah, I think I've pretty much talked about all the overarching topics that I wanted to cover, and basically explain why I'm not here on a regular basis, but that I'm not leaving. I haven't even checked in on the Facebook page very much, or the Facebook group. And so if you have applied to be a member of the Facebook group, just know that I will be going in there very soon and just seeing if there are people still on the waiting list that need to come in, because the Facebook group is a really awesome place that even if I don't check in very often, the people who've been there for a while, the OG members, they are very helpful. They're very loving. And the group has kind of taken on a life of its own. And so even when I'm not there and checking in, it kind of runs itself, on its own. And it's still a very, very good place to go to get some support, to get advice, and just to pop in and just, just explain maybe some difficult things that you might be going through, and just to get some ideas of what has helped other people. And so it's very supportive. I highly encourage you to go over there and pop in if you're needing some support, because it's still there. But like I said, it has probably taken a little bit. We're getting a little bit behind on letting all the members in, because I still want to do a really good job of vetting the applicants to make sure that we're not letting people in that are going to terrorize our members, or that are going to get information that we don't want them to have and just invade our privacy. So it is a private group, and so I want to make sure they keep it that way. I would rather people wait longer to get in and know that the people that are in there have been vetted to the best of our abilities, than to just mass let everybody in for the sake of time and then risk letting some people into the group that we don't want, that are either not widowed or they're not there for the right reason. And then we have to go through and spend the time trying to block them and all that. We don't want to have to do that. Every once in a while, somebody will, slip through the cracks. It just happens sometimes. But when that does happen, we usually have members that alert us to the people, and then I usually just go in and take care of that pretty quickly. So let me go back. I think we've got some people that have popped in. So I get it. Going on 5 years, True Lily says, for me, when I go on the Facebook, it just reminds me, though, though I do go on sometimes. I'm 72, so I feel like it may not be long until I have passed and will be with my husband again. So True Lily, thank you so much for popping in and hanging in there. I know after, like I said, you mentioned it had been about 5 years. And so sometimes we just we don't want to enter back into that world of, the we don't want to be reminded sometimes, like maybe we're having a string of good days or weeks, and we just really don't want to like go back in the pool and swim, with the grief right now. And that's totally okay. Like that's the whole point. And so if we don't want to go back there and relive some of those moments and think about that, then don't feel like you're obligated to just because you're widowed. And so I honestly support your decision not to want to go in as often, because we don't really want to focus on that all the time. Tim says, good and bad, learning the new dating rules. A lot has changed in 20 plus years. I know, Tim. I'm so thankful that I'm no longer in that dating world anymore. But even when I went back into the dating world, I'm remarried now to a widower. But let's see, we've been married for going on 6 years now. So, as a matter of fact, the anniversary of our engagement is coming up. The 6-year anniversary of our engagement is coming up in a few weeks, and when even back then, and I'm think it really wasn't fun. It really was like it was a job and almost like a chore to get in there and try to enter in the dating world again. And so so glad to say that's behind me now. But we've had some milestones that have happened to us in the last few months. If y'all have followed me, like I said, my job has changed immensely, but I'm having a great time. I'm loving being my own boss, and I'm loving the business. And if you're interested in just checking out what Whatnot is and just what it's all about, there is a link in the description below that you can click on. It'll give you $15 in free credit. You don't have to use it on one of my shows. You can use it on any show. There's people selling everything on that thing 24/7. I'm in the craft supplies category, but there's sports cards, there's collectibles, there's vintage, there's linens, there's clothes, there's shoes, there's candy, there's toys, there's anything you can think of to buy on eBay. There's probably somebody selling it on Whatnot. The only thing you're not going to find on there is probably like really large items. Mostly it's, smaller items that are easier to ship. But there's people running live auctions all the time. You can even buy stuff from people's not on live auctions. You can just buy stuff that they have in their shop. But you can click on the link and go on there, and it'll give you $15 free credit that you can use to buy anything you want. The only thing you'd have to pay for on that first $15 purchase is your shipping. And Whatnot has very strict guidelines on their sellers. Like you have to ship everything within 2 days, and if you don't, if your items don't get tracked and reach the person who bought it, then you don't get paid. And so there's going to be scammers in every platform. There's some on Whatnot, there's some on eBay, there's some everywhere. But just take into account that for the most part, it's honest people on there just trying to make a living and selling all kinds of items. And it's just a good time. It's fun. So check that out if you're interested. But on a more personal note, I have 4 children. My oldest daughter had become estranged from every one of us in the family and had moved to California. She went no contact with me. She went no contact with her siblings. She even left her son in the custody of his dad and moved to California, and basically had said big middle finger to all of us, and she didn't want to talk to us anymore. And then I got some really bad texts from her about just really, really hurtful and mean things about, I wish you would, what, and if you don't, then I wish you would off yourself, and just really angry type of messages. And so I just figured, well, I guess that's it, Well, then on Mother's Day, actually, I got a text from her saying that she'd been to therapy and she had regretted some of the things that she said, and she was trying to see if there was any way that we could bridge any kind of relationship together. So I was very happy to get that message from her. Things are not fine and fixed, but she did come and visit, and she stayed at our house for a little while. And, it was a little strained, but it was okay. And so we may not ever get back to the place where we were, but at least we're to a place where we can text each other and, just be in a little bit of contact with each other. So I'm grateful for that. My My second oldest daughter was working at Starbucks, and she tried to unionize the store, and eventually she got fired for that. And so she's in the middle of a lot of ups and downs with that. And she's trying to find other work and trying to figure out how to make, how to make her bills and all that. And so she's on her way here. As a matter of fact, this afternoon, she's going to help me do some work on my business, and I'm going to give her a little bit of cash to just, she's going to help me and I'm going to help her. So she's just trying to find her way in the world and, just making it through. My son is still at that same Starbucks and just trying to figure out life as well, trying to see if he can get himself an apartment with a couple of roommates and just try to do the young man thing and just find his way through in life. My youngest daughter, who still lives here, she is 15. You guys have seen her in a few of the videos doing a cameo appearance and popping in. That's Dallas. She got her learner's license, and so she's learning how to drive and giving me 7 heart attacks a day trying to do that. And she actually she's been going back and forth with school situations, but she is going to try to start going back to public school this year. So she'll be starting 10th grade in a few days. And she's very excited. This is something that she has worked really hard to try to get back to. She does not like doing homeschool because there's no other siblings that live here with her anymore. So it's just me and my husband and the dogs and her. And so she wants to get back and be around people of her own age. Mom is scared of how that's going to go because, again, we know how schools have just changed a lot. And so we just hope that she makes good decisions. And when she gets there, that she will not want to come back home and do homeschool, because she knows that if she makes bad decisions at regular school, that she will be back here doing homeschool again. And that's not what she wants. So hopefully she will make good decisions so that she can stay there, because she only has 3 more years left and then she'll be doing college. That's what she wants to do. And so in order to get to college, she's got to graduate. And in order to graduate, she's got to make good decisions and not get in trouble. So plus come spring, she's going to turn 16 and she'll be driving. Oh, and there's Jelly Bean. Come here, baby. And Jelly Bean is here, like as wild as ever. Yep, popping in and popping out. So she just got a haircut. And there she's off again. She just busted in here like she owns the place. As far as my husband goes, he's been struggling a little bit because his dog, Roman, the Rottweiler that he had, let's see, a couple of years before we actually met, he had to have Roman put down last week. He was 8 years old and he developed diabetes and pancreatitis, and he was in a lot of pain. He could not eat, he could not drink. And so due to those reasons and just really, really bad health, he made the really, really difficult decision to go ahead and have him put down. And so he's been dealing with that because Roman was there with him when his wife died. And so was like his emotional support animal during that time. And so it was really close to him. And it's just really been affecting him a lot. And then our other dog, the dog that I had when I met JP, Maya, she's also old, 9 or 10. We don't know because she was a rescue. She's been kind of wandering around looking for Roman and wondering where he is and wondering why he's not around. And so she's been trying to deal with that. We also have just recently put Maya and Jelly Bean together because they were separated for this whole time that we've had Jelly Bean because she did not like her. So we just decided to try to put them together, and no dogs were killed in the process, but Maya is trying to figure out like what is going on with this wild young dog that keeps wanting to play with me all the time. And she's kind of, and so, we're trying to let them integrate so that neither one of them will be lonely. And so, my sister's been coming up and helping me with the business about once a week for the past several months. And so, that's just another dynamic that we're trying to figure out what's the best way to make it work. So, we're juggling new business. We're juggling time constraints. We're juggling relationships between people. We're juggling relationships between animals. We're juggling how to live with life after loss for however many years, which I think is always just going to be an issue. Um, Also, today would have been JP and Crystal's, I don't know how many year anniversary, 30, 30, a lot. I don't know how long. Um, Close to 40, I think. Anyways, their anniversary today. I don't know the number, but I know it's a big number. So today would have been their anniversary, and so he's spending some time with his son right now. He's probably going to be popping in soon, but it's a bittersweet moment to celebrate an anniversary that did not happen, because the anniversary is just a celebration of another year. So just because your spouse has died does not mean you don't get an anniversary. It just means that you're celebrating the anniversary without them. And so today would have been his anniversary, or is his anniversary. June was a tough one for me because June 10th would have been my 25th year anniversary. June 17th was the anniversary of his death. So that would have been 8 years for him. And then on top of that, Father's Day always hits right there. Sorry for the barking dogs. Let me close that door. Hey, be quiet. Okay, sorry. It's chaos around here sometimes. So anyway, I think I hear JP. He just came in the door. So there he is. I'm live, by the way. Oh, he brought me some chicken, even though I told him I wasn't hungry, but he knows me. So thank you. You can get 2 of them. Okay, I don't know if I can eat 2 of them, but I'll try. So, all right. Thank you. I love you too. And the guys. There's a few guys in here. Tim's in here. He said hello to all the ladies and the guys, if there's any in here. So, oh, thank you. That's sweet. He brought me some chicken. So believe it or not, we have like a Chevron gas station that's like 5 miles away. That has like some of the best fried chicken in the Tri-County area. It's better than, okay, don't let them hear me say this, but it's better than KFC, I think. Anyway, so he brought me some chicken. I'll be eating that pretty soon. So anyway, that's basically it. I'm just popping in just to let you know that there's just been a lot of changes. We're going with the flow. We're still on that grief journey. We always will be. No matter what happens in life, we're still trying to figure out how to live life without our spouse. So there's been some health issues for me that nothing catastrophic, but I've got some thyroid issues that are probably need to be dealt with. I have not been on my thyroid medicine in a couple of years, and I think it's catching up to me because I don't have health insurance because I'm self-employed. So we're going to try to see how we can make that work. I recently had a CAT scan a few days ago because I was having some symptoms of a possible brain tumor. However, that's clear. No brain tumor, no cancer, no tumor. So that's good news. But I did have to go to the doctor and have all that stuff checked. And they took about 5 or 6 vials of blood from me, and that was just 2 days ago. And so I'm very tired from that. So whenever they take a bunch of blood from you, I think it takes a little while to build it back up. And so just a lot of health stuff and nothing serious, but just part of getting old. When you get old, you get tired. And so I'm trying to figure out how to work because my job is very physical. There's a lot of standing, there's a lot of lifting, there's a lot of moving, there's a lot of cutting, there's a lot of talking. There's a lot of, when I do shows on whatnot, it's standing up and talking for 3 to 5 hours straight. And by then, when I get done doing that, I have to take a nap. And then when I wake back up, I got to pack all those orders of all the people that bought stuff. So it is not, it's not for the, for the faint-hearted. I mean, I love it, but it is, it's tough physically on the body. I'm 51. And so I'm not old, but I'm not young. I'm like in between, like my mind still feels young and sharp, but my body's like, you ain't 25 anymore, girl. So you just got to be careful with all that stuff. Like you just can't, I don't have the same stamina that I used to have. And so, I've lost a bunch of weight, but it's been from being on the shot. And so I've been on tirzepatide for about going on a year and a half. That is no joke either, because it makes you tired. It makes you not able to eat very good. And so you don't get the same kind of nutrients that you are supposed to get. Don't think about it, dog. You're not coming in here. Nope, you're locked out. She's trying to come in and she's locked out now. She's like, wait a minute, I can't go in there and see my mom. But anyway, so like when I got my blood test back, for instance, it showed that I had low protein and malnutrition and dehydration. And I'm like, yeah, that's no surprise, because when you're on that shot, it makes it to where you cannot eat as much as you used to eat, which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because you're losing weight, but it's a bad thing because you are not getting all the nutrients that you probably need. And so, for that reason, you're a little more tired. You don't have the energy that you used to have. So once I get to my goal weight, which is, I am so darn close. I'm about 10 pounds from my goal weight. I think I've lost about 55 pounds. So I'm not quite there, but I'm darn close. Once I get to my goal weight, in order for me not to bounce back and like gain 50 pounds right back, I'm not going off of the shot. I'm just going to go to a very, very small micro dose that will just kind of help me maintain. So when that happens in the next few months, I should get some of my energy back, which is great. I'm also possibly going under surgery and might be getting a tummy tuck. So we're going to see when you're this old. And I say old, I know I'm not old, but when I'm a little older, right? I'm in that midlife crisis kind of time. I'm not in a midlife crisis, but when you're in that midlife age, and you lose a bunch of weight, you also get a bunch of loose skin. And so you get loose skin here and you get loose skin here and you get loose skin down in the tummy area. And so it's not comfy and it ain't attractive. So I may be getting a tummy tuck coming around January timeframe. So if that happens, I might be updating you about that. And I'll also be out of commission from my business for about 6 or 8 weeks. And so I got to figure out how I'm going to make money. And still go through that surgery. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. But I just wanted to pop in and let you guys know that I'm here. I have not gone anywhere. I'm just trying to live my best life and not get stuck in like the grief cycle. I don't want to be there, but I also don't want to turn my back on my widowed community. And I don't want to turn my back and pretend like that I'm not widowed anymore, because I know I am. It still affects me in some ways, just not the same ways that it used to be. I'm trying to grow my hair out and I still haven't decided if I'm going to cut it off and go back to the pixie. As you can see, I stopped coloring it. And so, but there's still some color down here and there's still some color down here that I'm trying to doesn't grow like it used to. And I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I have decided to go until my birthday, which is in September. It's a couple more months. And then I'm going to decide if I'm going to chop it back off and do the short hair thing, or if I'm going to try to embrace the little bit of long hair that I have and just see. I only get one more shot. If I cut my hair off, because I've been growing it out for like 2 years. So if I cut it off one more time, that's it. I'm not ever growing it back out again. So that's a big change. And so I don't know if I want to go through this in-between stage ever again. But my hair's not really growing like it used to. So this may be as long as it gets. I don't know. I can almost put it in a ponytail, like almost. Let's see if I can. Let's see what I can do. If I do put it in a ponytail, if I do put it in a ponytail, it's like real tiny. So I don't even know if I want to put it in a ponytail anymore. Anyway, that's basically it. Some minor things, some major things, lots of changes, but when it's all said and done, I'm still living in the same house, but we're probably going to do some big changes around the house because the basement is where I run the business, and so there's probably going to be some what do I want to say about that? Some construction changes. We need to make some changes downstairs in the basement if we're going to continue to go with the business like it's going. We got a new building, like a storage building moved in, and within a month, it was already full. And we're still overwhelmed with inventory, what they call a death pile in the reselling business. And so there's a lot of stuff. I'm buying faster than I'm selling, but I'm selling fast. So we're just got to figure out how to do that balance between buying and selling and not getting overwhelmed with excess inventory. And just see how that goes. Because when I put stuff on eBay, it's not selling quite as fast as I'm buying. So you gotta be careful not to become a hoarder when you're in the reselling business. And so I'm trying really hard not for that to happen. So James, thank you for your precious time. Grief is hard, but you explain why you move on. You are awesome. Thanks again. Love you. Thank you, James. I appreciate you popping in. So yeah, like I said, I'm not moving. We never move on. We just move forward. And so it's like a rubber band, we're trying to move forward into this new life without turning our back on the memory of our loved one that we lost. We don't ever want to do that. And so we have to try to find that balance between, thank you, babe. Yes, I will need that. Gotta have that napkin. But yeah, it's hard to find that balance of like moving forward without forgetting about our loved one. Cause then there's always that guilt. Like we're moving forward, we're trying to find happiness, but then we start feeling guilty, about leaving behind the memory of our loved one. And we don't ever want to do that. And we're not ever going to forget them, but we just have to try to figure out what that balance is of moving forward. And I have a video about that. I probably have it linked down below, but like it's called something like walking forward and facing backwards, or walking backwards while moving forward. It's something about walking forward and moving backwards. I don't know. I can't remember the exact title of it, but basically it's like that. It's like we're moving, we're making progress, but we're still walking backward, looking to our past and trying not to forget our loved one. And we have to figure out how do we do that? How do we move forward and live our best life, but still honor the memory of our loved one and not forget them? Because there's always going to be people that are like, it doesn't matter what you do, right? There's going to be people that are going to, they're going to judge you. They're going to be like, wow, so I guess she totally forgot about her dead husband. Well, that's awesome. And then if you don't, people are like, wow, I guess she's just going to be stuck in grief forever and never move ahead or whatever. So you can't win no matter what. So you have to decide that you're going to live your life not trying to please other people. You have to just say, forget about what other people, like, I don't want to say don't care about other people, but you just have to forget. You have to not worry about what they think. You have to live for your own self and do what you know is right and just not worry about what other people think. Because there's always going to be people that think good things and think bad things. And if you focus too much on what other people think and worry about their their opinion, then you're just going to be miserable anyway. And so go see Mel Robbins, go look up Mel Robbins YouTube. Um, it's not specifically about grief, but I know she has ADHD, and I know she just has a lot of real simple, she has a lot of insight about life, but with real simple ideas. Like her latest one, I think she just released a book. I haven't read the book, but I've heard about her new YouTube ideas about, it's just called Let Them. Like if somebody wants to be an asshole, let them. Like just stop worrying about what other people do and just let them be whatever they're going to be instead of trying to control them, because you can't. You cannot control what other people do. You can't control what other people think. You can't control what other people say. You cannot control their opinions of you or anything else. So instead of worrying about what other people do, say, think, just let them. Whatever they're going to do, just let them. And then only focus on yourself. Focus on doing the next right thing. That's what our pastor in church said last weekend. He was a guest pastor, and he said, don't worry about everything else. Just do the next right thing. And then just know that you're doing what's best for you, that you're doing what's right for you, that you're doing what's the best for the memory of your spouse. And then let everybody else worry about what they're going to do with themselves, right? So focus on that. Feel free to comment below, good, bad, or ugly. I can take it. I've had so many people pass judgment on the comments and the descriptions. And so, it doesn't really bother me anymore. Most of the people who say mean things under the comments of my videos, very few of them are widowed. And so, do you have a right to say anything? Yeah, you have a right to say anything, but like, is your opinion as valid if you're not widowed? Probably doesn't hold as much weight, right? And so if you have something to say, feel free to say it. YouTube loves the engagement, whether it's positive or negative. So if you got something to say, go ahead and put it in the comments. And, I try to respond to just about all of them. So, all right, that's going to be it. This chicken right here is like coming right into my nose, and it is making me hungry, and it's really distracting me. I can't even hardly concentrate because I didn't think I was hungry, but I started smelling this. I'm not going to eat it on camera because that would be rude, but I'm about to chow down on this chicken. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. I will try to check in more often than every 2 or 3 months. I'll try to check in a couple times a month and just kind of let you know how everything's going, see how you're doing. Don't give up. Keep on moving forward. Check out the links below for any other kind of resources, and we'll see you next time. All right. I love all of you. Thank you for all of your support and for checking in and for basically getting on my butt and saying, hey, you need to get out there and let us all know that you're okay, because I am. And I hope you are too. All right. Bye, guys. See you next time.